Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. What's one quality that you see in great leaders?
I don't know why I picked this one because it's such a hard question, but I like talking about leadership. I don't really know that I have a good answer for that because I think you got to be so dynamic. But I think probably a consistent thing, especially like in basketball programs specifically, is these guys know who they are and they know what they're about. Like you watch their teams play and you can tell, okay, this is what this guy's like. You watch Virginia play.
Yeah.
Humility's clearly emphasized. Like those guys are about each other. Purdue's character. Villanova attitude, you know what I mean? Like these things, and you can see it how they play, and it just comes out. But I think
identity is what you're talking.
They know who they are, and like everything you hear them talk about is consistent. There's a consistent message and baseline in every answer. One of the podcasts you did, Coach Fitch was that way. You know what I mean? He's like everything he said was in line with everything. You know what I mean? It's just like. This guy understands who he is and what he's trying to be, and it's not just like look at Coach Lloyd, who's in Arizona now. He was at Gonzaga for 25 years. Great, doing a great job. You know what I mean? But like nobody really knew who he was, and I think that's another quality is they don't. It's about doing what you're supposed to do, not the credit. You know,
nice.
and you see. I think the Gonzaga guys like Coach Lloyd being there for so long, Coach Few,
Coach Tang now going to Kansas State. From 19 years as an assistant coach and for Coach Drew being so instrumental but just being faithful and being great in those moments of where you're at. And so that when your opportunity comes, you're ready to take it. I think those are great examples of guys like that.
But being secure too,
to
where I'm not going to run away from Baylor for the wrong thing. Like he wasn't looking for a head coaching job. He was looking for the right situation to where he could help kids shine, or he could shine, whatever it is, And so same thing with Lloyd. Like he's just like, well, I don't need to leave. I'm doing good things. I believe in what I'm doing. I don't need to have my own program just to have my own program, And so, the setup for success there, I think, is high when you see that kind of patience because they're secure in who they are and what they're trying to do. So, I think in college it's a little different. You can look at a roster or a league and know, okay, I can do this there with them.
Yeah. That man, we're kind of getting in some cool areas though, like and things that I've wrestled with. Being content. Like content, sometimes people have that. It sounds negative, like you're lazy if you're content. I think content is just trusting that you're at the place where you're supposed to be, and not. Even though my feet are here, I'm looking out towards the future. Because I think once you start to do that, you lose the focus on those young men, those individuals that have been put in your life for a reason. But I think those names that you mentioned, and you've been at the same place, Coach Fitch, Coach Watson, like those dudes that have been, and not that moving from job to job is bad. So I don't mean that. If you feel like it's the best opportunity for you and your family, you feel like you're supposed to do that, and you take advantage of it. But there is something, I think, guys that have been someplace for a long time, they have figured out the secret of being content with where they are.
Yeah. Well, in coaching, it's hard to find a place that you feel like you can be successful and not have to look over your shoulder. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to consider leaving.
Yeah,
when
that's
you're,
right.
When you're in the coaching world, where you have a good baseline support, but also I think when you get a feel for what it takes to do well at that place, because they're all different. Every school's got different cultures, different kinds of kids,
Yeah.
Different kinds of neighborhoods, different kind of middle schools that come up. I mean, there's going to be some underlying culture to all the different places, and so to find one that fits with what you're trying to do is a great. There's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, but even like because you're right, content. I like the way you're putting it. I'm literally my head's spinning a little better right now because you're right. The knee jerk is content means you stop looking, but
Yeah.
content means you're happy and growing too. You're trying to do it the best you can.
Make the big time where you're at, and if the big time is actually big time, then great. But if it's not, I mean, I'm at a 5A TAPS private school where there's 350 kids at our school, and there's times where you can look around at others, not only success, but facilities or athletes. I mean, watching the UIL playoffs, watching McKinney play, just the athletes and levels, but then you have to. I think all those guys too that you mentioned, they know their why, like that identity. They know their why, and it starts from them, and it trickles down to their program. The way that their players talk to each other, the way that they play, everything we've been talking about today is just learning really how to know yourself as a coach.
Yeah, well, and the other thing you say there too is like you say have success, and what does that even mean? Like, what's success to you might be different than what it is to me, and so knowing what your version of successful is another thing that's really important.
Yeah.
And so that's another one.
Coach Thomas. So my high school coach, Tommy Thomas, was incredibly successful, but not only he did have some great teams, and he won some big games and had some great players come through, Darren Williams, guys like that. But I would think that his greatest success is the way that the relationship he had with players and how he stays connected to them. Because this idea hit me when I, my first couple of years at Faith, won some games, and I started to do the math. Okay, if I do this for 40 years, I could have that many wins. Like I just to be transparent, that math started going and thinking of that type of legacy to lead. But then I thought back to Coach Thomas, and I did one of my early episodes was with him, and we did discuss his record. It's not like a earth-shattering record, but man, he was impactful. And
yeah, so I think impact.
Yeah, I think it's the ultimately the record and the championships or anything like that. After he retired, it just didn't matter anymore. Like nobody talks about the Colony basketball in his era much anymore, or all those wins. But man, anybody brings up his name, I've talked to a lot of guys about you and that I was having you on and just wanted to, if they had any thoughts or ideas or questions. And man, you just get the feeling of the way that people talk about Coach Thomas. They talk about you in that same way. And golly, that's something to aspire to.
That means a lot that you said that. I want to know who you were talking to.
I'll pay you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like one of the best years I think we ever had here. I think we ended up 16-13, lost in the second round. But man, they dealt with a lot. They dealt with a lot, and they just we had kids come late. I think we were 2-9 or something. You know what I mean? To start, and then we went 11-3 in district or something. They really turned it around. But like I think if you're on the outside looking at it, probably looks like a normal year, maybe a good turnaround. But when you're on the inside of those things, it's just got a different look.
Yeah.
This year's team even. I think we finished 16-14 and lost in the first round, got third in district. But from where we were to where we finished, I think we got a lot better, and I think everybody felt pretty good. All the kids felt pretty good about it. And it was a hard year. We had a big roster, and a lot of kids didn't get a lot of opportunities, but they kept a good attitude. They practiced hard every day, and I thought there was a lot of good that came out. We haven't done the exit interview stuff yet, so you may have to edit this. But I thought overall we got better. know, and really that's what you're trying to do, is just get as good as you can get every year, and whatever comes with that. I mean, everybody wants to win. You know, like, what a lazy goal.
Yeah. If the
no one
goal,
does,
yeah,
I got
I
stuff to
hope
do.
we're mediocre. I'd
Yeah.
be,
And so, but what's a realistic version of the team, and then try to beat it. You know,
yeah.
like, oh, well, how good can we get? Let's try to get better than that. How do we get better than that?
But I do think, I mean, I think you're right on the money, and I don't know how many, maybe there's more than we realize, but how many coaches are process based like that? Because that's what you're talking about is, guys, every day our goal is to get 1% better today. It's the only thing we can't control. Obviously, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but we talk about a state championship one time. And then it's kind of at the beginning of the year where, hey guys, ultimate goal, win a state championship. If it's not the goal, like if it's not what we're the highest peak that we can get winning wise, then what are we doing here? Like, are we trying to be third? Are we trying to be mediocre? But then, man, after that, the only way to get there, and then the only way to have, I think, to have success in your season, no matter what, is if it's process based. And like you said, 16 and 13, is that the record? 14, but like, yeah, but incredibly successful. Like, to me, that's the sign of a transformational culture. Instead of looking at this season like, golly, just what a, I mean, we were barely fighting, you know, instead of looking at it like that, you've looked at all of the ways of growth and all the small successes that you have. I think that's great for a lot of coaches to hear.
Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here thrilled about a lot of things. You know, when you lose, I know it was 14. I think we won 16. I know we lost 14, but yeah, there's those little moments where I think we lost 3 times where we're up 3 under 20.
Sometimes your record just doesn't show how competitive you really were. Yeah,
right. And so, but we're up 3, and they hit a 3 and we lose.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, we're playing a district game. First half of the second round of district against Pierce, who's right there with us, you know, and then you know, Nimitz and Irving. It was going to the turn. It was a log jam. I mean, Lake Highlands and Richardson were playing for first and second. It was pretty.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
It was pretty much that. But they hit a 3 at the buzzer to tie it, you know, and like, our kids didn't run over and say, "Ugh, it happened again." You know, they came over and said, "We've dealt with this. Come on, we can do this." And we won in overtime. And like, those are the ones, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even that big of a crowd. It wasn't like, but like, when we went in that locker room, we were like, "We did it, man. We knew we could do this." Like, it was one of those. It was almost like, thank God that kid made that 3, so we could see, you know, that we could do those hard things, that we could overcome that, you know, and I, you know. It was cool. It was one of those cool moments that those kids could recover, you know, from, because that's hard, you know, when you got it and the kid bangs a 3 and the buzzer, and
but you're right, when relative experience can become actual experience, that's a powerful thing, because early on you're trying to more talk about how will we deal with this and this and this, but then after they've already done it, or in the moment when they're doing it, that's when those light bulb moments really happen.
Well, it's almost a good thing, I think, early to lose some of those, so they see that it's hard.
Yeah.
Because when you respect the difficulty in something, well, you could win, and it's just not going to stick the same. You know, you can have the same. I can go. We have the same talk. We can emphasize the exact same points after a game, whether you win or lose. They're going to hear it better after a loss.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way, but it's what it is. It's okay. So it's kind of good, I think, especially with an inexperienced team, to see, hey, this is tough. You know, to make 2 free throws up 2 with 8 seconds left, it's hard.
I think there's a little nugget in there though too, as it, you know, as it just we're just kind of flying on all different directions. One is scheduling. I've been guilty of, I think, maybe because I don't know how well the guys will do, or it's a younger team, or your talent might be different, but scheduling on the lighter side to maybe help their confidence with that. But then sometimes you can get false confidence through those moments. Dan Lee from John Paul II which golly, I mean, he has incredible players. He doesn't deal with losing very much there, but he had a great point when I talked with him. It was, don't worry about your record, get better. It's like non-district or pre-district. Don't worry about that. Like, play good teams, get your butt kicked, learn lessons from that. And I was a good reminder for me.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree. Like, we try to schedule well, and it also has a lot to do with your team too. Like, I don't want to lose by 38 times, because they're not going to learn a lot. I mean,
You have to know your kids. You have to know their makeup.
And you got to know, but it is scheduling is a big deal over here. Like, we put a lot of thought into it, and our district, what kind of offices are we going to see? What kind of defense? Okay, who else? Kinds of things, and we try. No, we have a couple that we're going to play these guys every year. Or we're going to play this event every year, and so, but I get made fun of all the time. By my dad, I don't know our district's record. I won't know it. What's your record? I don't know. But I know our district record.
That's right.
Because that's really the only thing we talk about. We don't talk about winning state or winning. We just kind of talk about playoffs. We're conscientious of what we need to be able to accomplish to get in the playoffs. But other than that, because like I said, what pre-meeting is not try to win district? Yeah. Everyone's kind of going to have those. So I think the goals for us become, okay, how do we do that? How does this team do that? And so we'll have a list of things that they think they need to do that they come up with, and so those kind of become our goals. What are we doing? Have you been doing these? Have you been working on your own? Have you been taking care of your, making good decisions the weekend so you're rested?
Yeah.
Whatever they come up with, is what it is. We'll have our base things we always emphasize, but we try to let the kids take a little ownership into that too.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.